Hi, this is Terry, and on this video, we're going to talk about division by a mononomial. So let's look at this problem we have here. We have 45xy minus 27, and that's all over 9x. So when we first look at this, we're like, ooh, where do I start? Well, we are going to start by dividing this problem up a little bit to make it easier to look at. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite the top part of that. We're just going to say 45xy minus 27. But we're going to take that 9x and we're going to put it underneath each one of those. So basically we've just split our problem apart a little bit to make it easier to look at. And so the problem that we just wrote is the exact same problem that is right up above it. So now that we have this broken apart, we can divide this out a little bit easier. So let's look at the one on the left first. We have 45 over 9. So I'm just going to circle those numbers there because that's what we're going to divide first. And so if we divide 45 divided by 9, we know that that is going to give us 5. Okay, so now let's look at the letters next to it. Remember, we have to keep like terms together. So the next thing we're going to look at are these x's here. And if you'll notice, if they are the exact same on the top and the bottom, we're literally just going to cancel those out. So that x on the top and that x on the bottom, they just completely cancel each other out. So all we're left with is just that y. So we just bring him down and write him beside the 5. Perfect. All right. So now we have a minus sign in between. So we're going to go ahead and bring our minus sign down. And so let's look at the second one here. This time we have a 27 over a 9, or 27 divided by 9. So again, we're just going to divide that out. That gives us a 3. So I'm just going to put my 3 down. And then I look and all I have left is this x right here. So I'm going to bring that x down. But here's the deal. Notice how he's on the bottom of the fraction there? He has to stay on the bottom of the fraction here. He cannot move to the top because he's on the bottom. He has to stay on the bottom. All right. And so we look at our problem. We have 5y minus 3 over x. And we say, hey, can we do anything else to that problem? Can't combine anything. So this becomes our final answer. All right, so let's look at another one. I'm going to kind of break this up just a little bit here. All right, so we're going to look at one over here. We're going to say 63a squared minus 42a squared b plus 35a squared b squared all over negative 7a squared. All right, so we look at that and we're like, woo, that one's long, but we're going to break it up just like we did a while ago to make this easier to look at. So let's break that top part up. So we're going to rewrite it as 63a squared minus 42a squared b plus 35a squared b squared. Now we're going to take that negative 7a squared and we're going to put him under each one of these problems that we had wrote down. So we're just going to break this whole thing apart to make it a little easier to look at. All right, so we're only going to look on the one on the left, and we'll always start with just our numbers. So we have 63 divided by a negative 7. And if we divide that out, that gives us a negative 9. Okay. And then we look at our letters that are next to it. And here we have our variables are a squared over a squared. And remember, we said if we have the same on the top and the bottom, they just cancel. So this just leaves us with a negative 9. All right, so let's go to the next one. So the one in the middle we're going to look at. We're going to look at just our numbers. Now there's a negative sign out in front of that. So we're going to take that negative sign with it just like that. And we're going to say this says minus 42 over minus 7, or negative 42 over negative 7, however you like to say that. So we already know that a negative divided by a negative makes a positive, right? And 42 divided by 7 is 6. So we're going to write down that 6. All right, and so now we've got our numbers, so we're gonna go to the variables that are next to it. So we have an a squared over an a squared. We've already said that if we have something that's the exact same on the top and the bottom, they just cancel. So that a squared goes away. So that leaves us with just this b, right? That b is on the top, so he will just remain on the top. So we'll just bring him down next to the number. All right, so let's go to the last one here. Okay, this time we have a plus 35 divided by a negative 7. And we know that a positive divided by a negative is just a negative. So we're going to put our minus there. And 35 divided by 7 is 5. So now we're going, that gets our number. We're going to move over to our first variable. And our first variable is a squared over a squared. And because they are the exact same on the top and the bottom, we know they can just cancel out. So we love that. Okay, and so we look at the variable that's left. We have right over here, we have a b squared, but there's nothing on the bottom to cancel it or to subtract from it. So we're just going to bring that b squared straight down. And again, he's on the top, so he will stay on the top here. Now I look and say, hey, is there anything I can combine together? I have negative 9 plus 6b minus 5b squared. There is nothing I can do to that, can't combine anything together. So that becomes our final answer.